so excited today to kick off this interview with Venkata and Sandra, who are part of our Gen AI Global Office. We're reporting live from Upgrade, our annual R&D conference here in the NTT Experience Center. And with that, Venkata, let me kick off for you to introduce yourself, your full name and your title and your new role.
Yeah, so my full name is Venkata Malapaka. I live in North Carolina, USA. I've been working with NTT data for the last 15 years now. And I'm very excited about my latest role, which is I'm now a member of the Global Gen AI office. Let me give you a little background about the office itself. With Gen AI, as you know, the podcast is about Gen AI too. It's an emerging technology which we believe is going to be truly transformational, not just to our own value chain in terms of what would it do for NTT, but what it could also do for our clients and humanity in general. With that said, there's been growing awareness around what we need to do with Gen AI. So there's a global, an office has been set up at the global level, at the headquarters level, with representatives from various regions. Sandra will introduce herself briefly. What I do as a part of this Gen AI office is I work on the tech platform. We'll talk more about that later. The tech platform as well as the tech strategy and tech research. The idea is what could we do in terms of applying Gen AI to transform our internal value chain, and what could we do with Gen AI for our customers. So we work closely with the various TFAs, the data and intelligence TFA, the cloud TFA, the cyber tech security TFAs from Japan. We also work with the various units from Inc. and from Japan. We gather their inputs, and we are in a position to now provide both strategy and resources to make sure that this is prevalent and we actually use Gen AI to transform ourselves.
So before we switch to introducing Sandra, I want to get to you, but I think it's really important that we understand what a global Gen AI office is. What does that mean? And especially when you think about such a large company like NTT Data with several divisions, there's the international division, there's the division in Japan. So what does it mean to have a team like that that's tied to the business as well? As I understand, you're both tied to the businesses in the regions and customers, and also product teams. Help me understand a little bit more about what does it mean to have a Gen AI office?
Absolutely. So like you rightly pointed out, we have various units, we have various opcos as we call them. We also have various TFAs working on initiatives.
Sorry to interrupt you. What's a TFA?
The technology focus area.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are groups that have been formed at a headquarter level to have a very clear look on a technology. As an example, the data and intelligence TFA. They take a very clear and consistent look at what's happening in the data and analytics field, what emerging technologies are out there, what do we need to do to monetize some of them, how do we use these technologies to transform our value chain, transform our clients' value chain, what would this mean for us, right? So when we have these TFAs and when we have these various assets, I'll give you an example, Nucleus. So the North America teams have actually used Nucleus a lot to automate a lot of the clients' the managed services work that we do. With the emergence of Gen AI, what would it mean for Nucleus?
Yeah.
If you actually take Gen AI and make that an integral part of Nucleus, what would it mean? What would it look like? What would it mean for the entire value chain? What would it mean for the outcome that we could provide with this? So the Global Gen AI office essentially has been set up with this goal of ensuring that we don't look at technology for the sake of technology. We don't look at it in silos. How do we sort of tie it all together? And how do we ensure that as an organization, we reap benefits of this technology? And how do we, as an organization, ensure that our clients use this technology effectively?
Wonderful. Well, that sounds really exciting to have these technology focus areas. We call them TFAs. And they look at specific technologies, really specific. So Gen AI is pretty big. Before we introduce you, Sandra, just so we really get to understand this, because I think it's an important point, what is an example of a very specific technology? You mentioned Nucleus. Is that a specific technology that has its own technology focus area?
I'll talk about, let's say, the cloud TFA, right? So we have a cloud technology focus area where we take a look at cloud.
Yeah.
Now as a business line, we actually manage the data centers of various customers, and we do that in a managed services manner. And we have lots of technologies through which we manage our infrastructure and our clients' infrastructure. With the advent of Gen AI, what would it look like? could I do the same service differently? I'll give you a very simple example. We have various call centers today where our field agents take calls of customers, and then we do something with the calls, and there's a workflow around it, right? With the advent of Gen AI, could this be done differently? Could this be done more effectively? That's one
that's a great
very practical
example.
application.
All right, so let's definitely talk that through as a group here. Sandra, allow me to introduce you and to take a moment to do that. Let's really take a beat in this interview to talk a little bit about your experience in Europe, talk about you and your role, and also this incredible documentary that's being shot this week about you.
Yeah, Megan, nice to host us here these 2 days. Happy to visit San Francisco. My role, so first, my full name is Sandra. Living in Belgium, in Brussels, in the center, a really nice city. I joined the Global Gen AI office very recently in January. And before my role there, I was head of innovation for Limited in Europe. So I took kind of a switch there. And for me, this is really an exciting week because I have a whole week a camera crew following me. Me and my family for a documentary because I actually have a disability. I have no legs, so I can walk with prosthesis, but for the streets and to move around, I have my wheelchair. And it's actually, that's quite inspiring for youngsters who have a disability, or for people who are really not so sure on what can you do in life with a disability. So I really would like to show that you can do a lot in life, and that if there are hurdles, don't worry, everything will be okay. Just try it. So that's a bit what I really would like to tell with the documentary. So it's a really nice experience, and also we are considering to moving into the valley. So having that whole migration process, it's so exciting to do house visits and. Looking just for a new future in the US.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell us about this role. I understand it's a global role, but you also have been in Europe for a long time, and we do a lot of fantastic innovation in Europe. So
yes. So in Europe, for Limited, I was more focusing on private 5G, IoT, edge computing projects, to collaborating really close with clients in innovation workshops, looking how we could fit those kind of emerging technologies in their technical roadmaps or strategic roadmaps. And it's a bit similar with Gen AI, because I really strongly believe that when you understand the client, the roadmap of the client and the vision of the client, that you really can say, okay, let us become a trusted partner, not just for today or for one project, but let's build a really strong relationship. And what the future brings, we don't know today, but we can work really on that partnership and sit together, be creative in brainstorming, in having those kind of not really focused moments, and look for opportunities together. And I think that's a good value to have as NTT, that we have that really embedded also with the innovation centers. We have the experts, we have great client managers, great sales teams who are really pushing that mindset to our clients.
It sounds like it's very collaborative and also a perfect fit with your background for generative AI, where the use cases are endless. So on that, Venkata, help us understand. You guys are our experts in the global team on this. Let's differentiate the hype from the reality here on Gen AI. What's it all about?
Right. Let me just start by defining Gen AI very briefly, right? Gen AI, as the name suggests, it's about generating, using AI to generate content. It could be text, it could be code, it could be images, what have you. There is hype around it because people have found this to be transformational. As an example, using Gen AI applications, you could generate code, and in some basic instances, that could essentially write code that is almost as good as what a human would write. Again, I have to put some caveats there because there's very contextual information that you would have to factor in. But leaving that aside, is it hyped? Is it real? As with any new technology, there's always going to be some hype surrounding it, right? But in terms of the true transformational capabilities of Gen AI, through the work that we've done, through the pilots that we've done, and through examining it through the lens of the immense potential it has, there is value in it. It's not all hype, but there's a lot of practicality to it. Of course, there are challenges in terms of taking that forward, and we'll talk more about it. But it is real, and it has truly transformational capabilities.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And I'll just take a pause to give credit to a gentleman like yourself saying it's real, meaning I think when we're in tech, and we've been in tech a long time, there's always these technologies that come out. And for us veterans, we might be a little bit dubious sometimes. So I think just to validate what I hear you saying, with a technical background working with clients and working in managed services where you really implement at scale these solutions, enterprise grade solutions, I think I hear you saying this very, very new emerging technology is actually ready for prime time. Did I get that?
So,
or maybe not quite yet.
Absolutely, right? So I'll talk about a couple of limitations, right? Now that I've told you about the practical, the transformational capabilities it has. As with any new technology, adoption, it's not a magic bullet, right? You've got to be ready. You've got to have some of the foundations or the basics right to adopt this particular technology. What gives me hope, and I've been in this field too, right, in the data analytics field for a long time. What gives me hope is with all of the promise that data analytics and AI had, it still didn't reach the last mile, if you will. It was still restricted to a few groups within the organization.
Yeah. Deployment at scale.
Right, but with Gen AI, every user of the company, right, or every individual of the organization would be playing with something that has Gen AI embedded within it. Now, to do it at this scale, there are certain challenges that we would obviously have, and that is where my fear is. My fear is not with the promise or the potential of the technology. It's what people or organizations do with it, and how do they actually deploy it for usage.
So on that, before we get to challenges, Sandra, I want to give you an opportunity with your background really working with clients to uncover those use cases. Help us understand the hype versus reality in some examples for innovation.
We have often, you have clients who think big, right? And that they follow the hype. And then they come and they sit down with us and we say, okay, good, great idea. You have budget. Everything fits together. And then a lot of people start to talk, okay, we will use LLMs, services, and so on. But then it's our job as NTT with our really years of expertise in security, trust, and sustainability to have the client with us and point them to, okay, we can use LLMs. They change all the time. But what with your security? What with your privacy of employees? And that's a really major concern today within enterprises, is that in innovation, they have a lot of proof of concepts, even scaling projects, but that's the security aspects of a CISO or even just the change management of employees is like a really, really worry, because we focus a lot on technology, but not on the border around technology, which is really important to really have a success in a transformation.
Enterprise ready. That's what I was referring to too, that we have that experience, that it's not like consumer grade technology where you just use it like ChatGPT and there are issues and oops, we have to be in compliance. We have to be aware of any legal risks. and also as a global companies that we work with, there's just so much around privacy and all these things. So we're kind of starting to get into some of the challenges. I think it would help our audience if we could look at a particular challenge and how we're going about really addressing it, because I think we all kind of get it, that the challenges are going to abound.
Right.
And certainly for the audience, for this video cast, I would say, we've heard about a lot of tinkering going on in enterprises, but what are some of the things that we can address now in this R&D group that will go from having lots of tinkering to execution at scale? Venkata, could you answer that one?
So I may not be able to give you one, but let me at least start with a couple if I can. So the one of the biggest challenges that we've seen in POCs and a lot of customers have found this too is the accuracy of the content. Like I said, the models have been trained on billions of parameters, right? They're trained to make up content. That's essentially what it is, right? You generate content. How accurate is it, and can you actually act on top of this content with confidence that it is accurate? That's a big challenge. I'm sure you've all heard of this term hallucinations, right?
Of course.
The model gives something because it doesn't know what it is, and then you take that as real and then you act on it, which is a problem. So that's one challenge. What we're trying to do is there's a series of I don't want to call them accelerators, but proven processes and frameworks that we could actually implement to ensure that we don't let these models hallucinate. That's one practical challenge. And I think as a technologist, the thing that I always am marveled with is the rate of change with which things are evolving, right? Just yesterday in the event, the Google Next event, they announced Gemini 1.5, which could take 1 million tokens in the context window. That's huge, right? Now, when you have this sort of a change happening, and of course, ChatGPT was always there. GPT-4 has the turbo vision, which does something similar in terms of multimodal abilities. Where I was going with this is the rate of change is immense. Now, how do we ensure that as a technology company, as an R&D company, we are on top of all of them? We are in a position to synthesize these changes and ensure that we offer practical solutions to customers without having to worry about the nitty-gritties of what's happening and what does it mean for them. And that is where we've come up with this concept of a Gen AI platform at the Gen AI office level that we want to offer to all of our opcos and the regional units and our customers in terms of how do they insulate themselves from all of these challenges. It could be accuracy, it could be the rate of change with which things are moving. There could be a model today and there could be a different model tomorrow at 1/10 the cost. Or do I have to redo all of my applications that use an older model?
I can't even imagine.
So these are the things that we're trying to address.
Right.
And that's a part of the charter.
And may I add, it's also that the challenge if we do business transformation, as technology is really, really going fast, business transformation also has to go really fast. Or if we have today a solution which is really fitting the business process today, might not fit the process anymore tomorrow. So, and that's also a great challenge. It's again not only a technical challenge, but as NTT we need to really focus on also on the business and being there for clients for that really business transformation.
So what I hear you saying is kind of connecting the dots between technology and consulting.
Definitely.
And
can we go as fast as the technology?
Choose NTT for that, for sure. Final question for you both, and I'll start with you, Sandra. Help us understand what NTT is really doing in this space.
Great things.
I can only imagine.
I think from the global Gen AI office, I'm part of the strategy team, so really focusing on defining value offers, go-to-market strategies, and there it's really a matter of really collaboration with the opcos, to have not only a top-down and a market. Of course, our goal is to increase market share, but we need to feel our clients, and that's something I really have a priority for. That it's like the bottom up. We work a lot with the opcos in different regions, with the TFAs, to really get that value offer that really fits the client with services. And services are partly consultancy, but it can also be consultancy with assets, where we do the business transformation consultancy, where we use the platform to have really fast proof of concepts to really see that business value for our clients. And that's great to have that opportunity within NTT.
It sounds like the group is in good hands,
Yes.
Sandra. I feel
Thank
that
you.
you're protecting everyone to be strategic and add business value.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Thank you.
Really.
Yeah. And if I could just add to that, it's also about transforming ourselves, right?
Yeah.
The way, as an example, how do we develop software today as a company? And how would it be different if we use Gen AI?
Yeah.
It's how do we do our own operations? What do we do with respect to proposal writing today, right? And how would it be different if we use Gen AI? So it's essentially transforming how we do our own operations, our own internal value chain, and how could we actually leverage these lessons plus more that we could then offer to customers, right? We've done this. It puts in that level of credibility that, we know what we're talking about because we've used this internally too.
Well, thank you both for the wonderful conversation about the Gen AI Global Business Office and NTT Data. And for folks to find you, Sandra, Venkata, would LinkedIn be the best way?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll provide links to that in the notes to our interview. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
And I appreciate the
Thank
opportunity.
you.
Yeah.